right now. With me is House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan. Great to see you again, Chairman. Thank you for being here. So let's get right to it. Is it time for an impeachment inquiry? Do you have enough evidence?
Well, I think what the Speaker was saying is when you go to that phase, when you get to an inquiry phase, that gives you the ability to get more information. The courts have been clear on this, and to get it in a timely fashion instead of playing this back and forth, this dance you have to do with the Justice Department or whatever agency, the IRS, whatever agency you're dealing with. So I think that's important. Look, our job is to follow the facts, follow the evidence, and here's what we're now seeing. The story from the White House keeps changing as to what Joe Biden's knowledge or involvement was with Hunter Biden. And then the story from the Justice Department has certainly changed. But the story that's been consistent, the testimony that has not changed, has been the testimony from the whistleblowers, Mr. Shapley and Mr. Ziegler. And it's been backed up, as you know, David, by an FBI agent who was deposed by the Oversight Committee as well. So I think we just keep doing our job. And if we have to go to the impeachment inquiry phase, then the Speaker's, I think, pretty clear we're going to go there.
Well, on Monday, I believe behind closed doors, you're going to hear from the former business partner of Hunter, Devon Archer. Do you suspect that he may have a smoking gun of some kind?
I don't know, but that's one more step, one more part of our investigation. Look, we're supposed to do our duty, our constitutional duty. If, in fact, that leads to an impeachment inquiry, so be it. But let's do our job so that we can figure out what exactly happened, how that may impact the appropriations process, what we do there with money going to these various agencies, what it may mean for possible legislation. That's our job as legislators. That's our job that's our duty to the Constitution. We're going to do all that. Mr. Archer is scheduled now. He's been scheduled multiple times before, and somehow those didn't work out. So we'll see what happens next Monday. But there's some important questions we have for him relative to things that have been in the press, at least, that say Joe Biden may have been more involved than he's indicated.
By the
over the
way,
last couple of
there's
years.
also questions about his own credibility. How certain are you of his credibility? Because he has, as I believe, he's either been convicted or he pleaded to crimes before.
Yeah. No, I mean, look. The two people whose credibility seems unimpeachable right now are Gary Shapley and Mr. Ziegler.
Right.
They were so good last week. Their story, I mean, look, they recorded things contemporaneously. They memorialized those. The email from the October 7th, 2022 meeting where Mr. Weiss, the U.S. attorney, told David Mr. Shapley, Gary Shapley, and the other folks in that meeting that he didn't have full authority. He requested special counsel status, was turned down on that. And then, of course, the Justice Department says a different story. But he recorded it at the time, that very day, sends it to a colleague who was in the meeting who confirmed it. So, again, I think their credibility has been rock solid.
Both of them. Meanwhile, of course, Democrats are fingering you as providing false evidence, suggesting you lied. Let me just play a little soundbite from Madeleine Dean. She's a Democrat on your committee. Roll tape.
What is so dangerous is the willingness of Mr. Jordan and others on the Republican side of the dais in judiciary to absolutely peddle in lies. Where's the evidence? There is no evidence of any wrongdoing by the president. And Mr. McCarthy knows that.
Congresswoman Dean told you what lies, so-called, you are peddling.
Yeah, I have no idea what she's talking about. And I haven't said anything. All I'm saying is what the facts show. Right now, the facts show 20 different companies, shell companies that were set up, multiple Bidens being paid by foreign nationals, many of those foreign nationals coming from some countries that aren't our best friends. That all happened, and you asked the fundamental question, David. What were they doing? What was the product they were offering? What was the service they were providing? What value were they adding? What did they do? Other than providing access to Joe Biden, I can't come up with a logical answer. So we're just exploring all that. And then you have the investigation into into Hunter Biden, and you have the whistleblowers who come forward with the facts and the stories that they've told us that are checking out and seem entirely credible. So I haven't said anything other than what's been brought to us, what the facts show, and we're going to stick to that as we move forward.
Well, she says, where's the evidence? I would suggest that the WhatsApp text from Hunter Biden shaking down a Chinese business partner and saying that his father is in the room and there's going to be hell to pay if you don't pay us. I mean, is that not evidence?
Yeah, and pictures of Joe Biden with Hunter Biden and his other and the business partners. I mean, you have that. You have the testimony here. You have the idea that we have this 1023 form that initially the FBI wouldn't even tell us, confirm whether it existed or not. Then they said, yes, it does, but you can only see it. The chairman can see it. Then only the committee members can only see it. Finally, Senator Grassley said, to heck with this. I'm going to make it public. And that information in there is pretty compelling as well, because it's from a source who had good credibility with the FBI they had used before. So again, all this is evidence. So I don't know what my colleague is talking about.
Now I want to switch gears, because you are juggling a lot of balls in the air at the same time, including the continuing concern about censorship, government censorship, what role they played during the pandemic, what role they played during the election in 2020, what role they may play in the 2024 election. You have moving, or you are in the process of moving, a contempt charge against the CEO of Meta, the guy who runs Facebook, Mr. Zuckerberg. What's going on there? What's the latest in that move?
We want the information from Facebook, from Meta, that we got from Twitter. We want these internal communications which talk about when the government was pressuring Twitter, trying to get them to take down certain speech, certain content, limit the visibility filtering, limit how that could be shared. We think the same thing went on at Facebook, but we haven't got those communications. So that's what we've been pressing for. And if we have to go to contempt on Thursday, we will do that. We just want the information because we know this was going on. We had the hearing last week where, for goodness sake, on the third day of the Biden administration, they sent an email, the White House, to Twitter saying, take down this tweet ASAP. And who was it about? Our witness last week, RFK Jr. So think about it. The Biden administration, literally 37 hours into their new administration, was looking to censor their Democrat presidential primary opponent. That's not supposed to happen in America, but it did, and we have it right there. There were all kinds of other things, not to mention the federal case in Louisiana that had 86 pages of the White House and other federal agencies censoring Americans, not foreign, American speech, and the court was clear in laying out the facts that took place during the Biden administration. We want that to stop, and we want to get the information from Facebook.
Do you have any evidence or even suspicion that the government is still involved? Government agencies might still be involved in trying to steer information on various social media sites?
Well, the ones we've asked, when we had Chris Wray in front of the committee a couple of weeks ago, that question was specifically asked by one of my colleagues. In light of the court's opinion on July 4th, are you still meeting with the big tech companies like they did throughout the last several years? And his answer was no, they're not. So we hope it stopped, and we'll see how this case progresses through the federal court system.
All right. Well, you've been doing a lot of work that is of great interest to Americans all over the country. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it,
David. Thank you.
Chairman Jordan.